which is the next generation shopping service. Fashion industry is growing very fast, and the worldwide revenue is rising for clothing to 475 billion by the 2020. But still 40% of people are afraid of buying clothes online. The main problem is the number which we see. 62 billion cost for all retailers. Why? Because $3 to $12 is just cost from one return to handle, and return rate is 20 to 30% for apparel orders. But 70% all the returns are from that fit and size is not related. So Hotseat is offering a solution to decrease in operational costs due to packages return and reduce costs and increase the sales. We will make money from the commission, 10 to 20%, depend on the contract that we sign with the retailers. Hotseat is a virtual dressing app which lets you to try clothes on a virtual cell with your real measurements directly from your smartphone. We use artificial intelligence and machine learning. We will target like micro influencers because we want to have steady and long-term relationship. We will be presented in artificial intelligence and fashion events and also on all social media. Our main competitors are Virtual Size and Zugara, both reaching around 5 million revenue so far. And the target market is millennial women, which they are spending more than 200 billion per year, and they are at the moment the highest spenders so far from all the generation. So first steps will be establish the company with a good team and develop the platform, testing and launching to the market. And of course, to reach that goal, we need team and money.
Okay, Mark, you're first up.
Okay. So you're entering a crowded space, and depending on the audience, they're already pretty familiar with the problem. And so you could probably, in a 3-minute pitch, trim that down to just 1 or 2 sentences, and then move on to what makes you special and how you're going to approach the problem and address it differently. That's not going to work in every room, but once you know your audience, you can focus that way. I started imagining what it would look like and how the artificial intelligence and machine learning would fit my virtual avatar in clothes as a millennial woman. And so I think some visuals on screen would be really helpful to illustrate your concept. So I think that would be good for you.
Okay, Don?
I don't know the space that well. You got my attention. Now, normally those big numbers in the front, like everybody, market size, billions and billions, and that's pretty typical founder stuff. But what got my attention was the rationale that returns are increasingly a problem in e-commerce. As we get more, my daughter's, for example, she buys 10 things and returns 5. But it's easy to do that. So that's a problem I can understand at a visceral level. So you got me at that. Remember we talked about what's the good question? Then you said we're going to solve that problem because it's a problem that's growing and it's palpable. And then I didn't know how. I don't know what you're going to do. What's the secret sauce on the hamburger that's going to make me, okay, here's how we're going to address the return problem. So that would be my first question. The good news is I would get that far. But I think you want to tickle that a little better with exactly what are you doing in this mechanism that's going to address that particular problem and deliver a result that's going to benefit one constituency, whether it's the original retailer or the person who doesn't want to return it and might be able to monetize it another way. I need more clarity on that. So you got my attention, and then I kind of hung there for several slides. So that would be my first comment at that point. questions, which is good, but I think I want a little more substance before I get what the business is.
And to add to that, I think in the beginning, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, returns were a real problem because you couldn't return it, or you had to actually do all this stuff to return something. Now my wife loves getting like 10 boxes of shoes, does a fashion show at home, and I'm like, and now what? And she's like, no, they're all going back. It's just standard, it's routine, right? It's not, it doesn't even bother her, right? So I see it's a problem, but it's not really a huge problem. It's not like, oh my God, it's a problem. So I mean, maybe show like 20 you know, shoe boxes out there, right? And it's like, you deal with that stuff, right? So somehow it used to be a problem, now it's a different kind of
So
problem.
it's a
and I
problem
think
for
we
somebody
need to
else.
explain that.
The problem has now been pushed down the supply chain.
That too, and I think my biggest question throughout the entire pitch, first of all, I think a little more enthusiasm, and you know, and you kind of got lost a little bit, but it's really why you. You know, I hear that pitch, pretty identical pitch that you had a couple of times from people, and I always think, well, you can do this because you've got, you know, you come from a tech company, you've got that background, you can, you know, whatever, right? You can do the app, that's amazing. Or you worked in fashion for 20 years and suddenly you teamed up with, but I want that story in the beginning. You know, I want more of the problem and how the problem really looks like. I want to imagine it, and then I want to know exactly why you are the one person that's going to make that. Because all these big numbers, you know, they kind of like drop quickly. If you're like, and all I need is money, a team, and pretty much everything. But buy into me, right?